Welcome to our first episode of All Time Glow. I am Allison.
And I'm Robin.
We have Haley with us today, but first, I just want to talk about Robin and I have been wanting to do a podcast for a long time. We own a salon together, and we've got a pretty large team, little under 30 girls on our team, and we have just been like throwing around the idea of having a podcast for like a year now. And here we are in the middle of this pandemic. We're quarantined, and we figured what better time to like start something that you usually don't have time to work on, right? Everybody's like at home painting their living room, refinishing their coffee tables, and we were like, let's do our podcast. Like, we're stuck at home, so is everyone else.
Let's be honest, you just went and bought all the stuff.
Went and bought nothing. I went on my computer.
Went and bought, so that was helpful. You pulled the trigger and then
pulled the trigger, decided let's order this podcast stuff. So we ordered it. We actually don't even have it yet. We obviously can't do any in-person interviews. So we were like, let's just hop on Zoom, start the podcast raw and real in my living room. Mm-hmm. And so here we are. So, but positive things aren't the only thing that come with quarantine, right? So obviously there are some perks of being stuck in our houses and our living rooms. We can work on these things that we always wanted to work on, eat dinner as a family and stuff like that. But also there's some downsides, right? So I don't think that sounds right. But there are not just perks to quarantine. Obviously, we are all stuck in our houses for a not so happy reason. And so we're going to talk to Haley about how quarantine and this pandemic has affected her in a negative way. Hi, Haley. How are you?
Good. I miss you guys so much.
Me too.
We miss you too. Crazy. We're in my living room.
I love it. It's so clean.
It only looks like this for a second. I kicked the kids out so we could do this.
I love it. That's awesome.
All right. So craziness, planning a wedding in the middle of a pandemic. That's got to be really crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely been a turn of events. Let's just say that.
Oh my goodness. All right. So let's just jump right in. So tell us about how you and Brett met.
Yeah, so we met in 2013. My best friend from high school actually went to college with him. Brett was studying criminal justice. And when I met him, I was in hair school. And then he just joined the police academy. And we like kind of talked every once in a while. But if I'm being honest, he was really horrible at texting. So I just kind of lost interest.
Typical guy.
Yep. Yeah, right? He actually still had like a flip phone when we met. So
you're like, you need an iPhone if you're
I know. I'm like, how do you text like with like keep hitting the same button to get to like the different numbers?
I kind of missed that. It was fun. I got good at it.
Was it at least a razor?
Yeah, I think so. So he was super shy too, and I'm just really not used to like guys that are like really sweet and quiet and take their time, I guess. So fast forward through like a few relationships and a few heartbreaks, and we reconnected on Halloween back at Ferris. We both had actually graduated and were in our careers at that point. And Brett moved back to the east side of the state, and I was still in Grand Rapids. And honestly, like I kind of thought I had my whole life planned out at that point, and I was getting an apartment in Grand Rapids, and then we reconnected on Halloween, and everything just like went a whole different way. He told me that he was gonna wait like 3 days or whatever that rule was to like talk to the girl or whatever. I didn't like know that was a rule, so literally I dropped him off at his friend's like apartment at Ferris, and when I got home, I like messaged him saying like I had so much fun, and he was like, like you're supposed to wait a few days. I was like, what?
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
So we just started like talking and hanging out, and then I was like, oh, we should like get together. I really want to go to IKEA, blah, blah, blah. So I
Awesome.
So I like planned like to go to IKEA, and it was like weird. So he was like, "Are you sure you still want to come? Like it's a far drive." And I was literally like already an hour into my drive, like on our for our first date. And so I was like, "Oh great! Like if he doesn't want to hang out, like I'll just go to IKEA. Like it's no big deal. Like I just wanted to tell him." So we went on our date, and it was great. And then we were long distance for a year and a half. I told him that he should look into like getting a house or something, because renting was just kind of like expensive, and his money wasn't going towards like anything great. And basically he said, well, if I buy a house, I want you to live here. And that was like really scary, and a huge like leap of faith, and lots of like asking my parents like if this is like really smart, and like making sure that they like would support like my decision no matter what. And so yeah, so I took that big leap of faith, and I quit my job and moved here. I guess when I moved here, I thought, man, we're gonna get engaged like right away, blah blah blah, and it did not happen. And so all this like planning of like a wedding that I had been doing for like years,
Waits 3 days, waits 3
yeah, literally, like tried 2 years later after that. So we at that point we've been dating for like 4 years, and I'm just like, okay, any day now.
So you guys live together at this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're waiting for him to propose. And then how did he propose?
Yeah, so I had no idea. He told me that I could not plan the trip or anything for him to propose. Like he had to plan everything himself. So I like to plan. So I'm like, great, this is literally gonna never happen. But actually, this is kind of like ironic. He planned like a full day of like fake clients on a Saturday, and then showed up to the salon and basically just said like, I called your boss and I canceled all your clients, and we're going up to like Mackinac and whatnot. So I was just kind of like, oh my God, I'm getting engaged. Like this is so crazy. But I still like wasn't super sure, because I thought we were getting engaged multiple times and it didn't happen. So, but he would make like funny little comments of like, oh, like last time we've been on the island we were dating, and I'm like, but we still are dating. Like, what do you mean?
Oh, that's so funny.
And then it was cool because he like packed all of my clothes. He probably packed like every single pair of shoes that I own, and he brought the dogs. So that was really cool. And then we just kind of walked around the island, and we actually got engaged at the fort. So like, if you haven't been to the island, it's like on top of like the hill that overlooks like the I think it's Lake Michigan, but it could be like Huron. I don't know, one of the lakes that connects. So he was just like, let me go talk to these people that we met earlier. I know they're having lunch here, blah blah blah. And so I'm like, oh my gosh. I like looked at the dogs, and I'm like, all right, this is happening now. So yeah, he like proposed, and before he could probably finish his whole like spiel, I was like, yes, yes, yes.
So describe like the dream wedding that you were planning.
Yeah, so I have 5 brothers and a sister. So I have like a really, really big immediate family. It's very blended. And Brett comes from a very small family. He has 1 brother. And originally, like, we wanted to get married on Mackinac Island because it's just been so special to us. Like, we've gone to Mackinac Island every year since we've been together. And my grandma and I actually used to go to the island when I was younger. So it was just like a really special place. But then it got hard because my family's so large that we were cutting out a lot of people that were really important to us. And it was just really hard to like say no to people. So our intimate wedding turned into 130 people like really fast. Mm-hmm. And so we were planning this big wedding in Grand Rapids, and it was super beautiful. It was going to be like a loft. So just like super like modern and industrial, and just like kind of like a little bit more of like a moody vibe. And I think I spent like 90% of the night staying up till like 1 a.m. like on Pinterest, like trying to find like inspiration and just like getting like all my ideas kind of like narrowed down, because it was just like so many things like going through my mind.
What was the theme that your decorations? Did you have like your flowers picked out? Did you have like your save the dates out? Like describe the things that you kind of like how deep you were into planning when the pandemic hit.
Pretty much everything was done. All of our deposits had been made. I kind of jumped the like planning, like probably like, so we got engaged July 22nd, I think, or something like that. And I pretty much had everything planned by September. Everything was like already paid for, and the second round of like payments. So we made all of our deposits. And I would say, I think it was the end of February, our venue required us to pay the second half. So our venue was paid in full by the end of February, which was like a big chunk of like the money that we were paying out for the wedding. And then I would say not even like 20 days later, like everything hit the fan. And I literally just had ordered all of our wedding invitations. Maybe a little too proactive, maybe, but.
Well, anybody who's planned a wedding, which Robin and I both have, knows that is like the most exciting time of your life. You only get married once, or that's the plan anyway. So like nobody wants to have to put all that work in and then it just kind of fall apart and like go to nothing, and you've got all this like money and time that you've invested, and then it's just like.
I'm curious to know, what emotions did you feel like take over, and when did you feel them? Like, did this kind of just trickle and happen, or was it kind of like an abrupt thing for you? And did you feel angry, sad?
Yeah, were you in denial?
When work closed, I was kind of like, it's inevitable. Like, this is a lot bigger than I think a lot of us like realize at first. And I just wouldn't let myself kind of go there. Like, I just kept pushing it back and back. And then like being so like invested in planning and wanting everything to be as like perfect as I envisioned, I just kind of was talking to my mom, and I'm like, I think we need to start making a plan B. Like, I'm not good at living in like uncertainty a lot. Like, I like to feel like I have like some type of backup plan. So I kind of knew it was coming. I didn't let myself emotionally go there yet. And then I would say like, I think it was like May 1st. We messaged the venue again and just was like, what are our options? And when we got the details for that, all the feelings just like hit me. And
really quick, so the salon closed down March 18th, right? That's when we decided, like, we were not forced to close yet, right? We were just kind of like, a few of the girls on our team were kind of like, don't really feel comfortable coming to work anymore. Like, I think I'm going to take a couple weeks off. And looking back is so crazy because like, we really, and I'm pretty sure the rest of the world too, really thought like, oh, a couple weeks probably, this will like blow over and we'll all go back to work. And
July sounds so far away from March 18th. Like, that's the summer.
Yeah. So when we closed the salon on March 18th, and then a couple days later, what was it, like March 20th, where we were mandated to shut down anyways. And then you're saying like, you didn't even really reach out to the venue until May 1st. You were probably like, that's a long time to go by for it to all kind of sink in and realize like, wow, this is not a 2-week thing anymore. This is now like a 2, 3, 4 month thing.
Well, you're probably waiting for them too to contact you and keep you updated. Like, hey, this is what we're doing. This is just to like give you some peace of mind and some, direction.
Yeah, like our videographer reached out to us like end of March, and I was just kind of like, gosh, like he's really like jumping the gun a little bit. But looking back, like I'm probably most thankful that he did reach out and just said like, hey, like we're here for you. These are kind of what we're going by. Like, obviously things can change at any moment, but just know like we're here for you. And like for like the venue to not do that, I was I don't know, maybe I just had like high expectations, but yeah, that didn't happen, so it kind of sucked.
They can only do so many weddings a year, so it's not like they have like a million people to reach out to. We had like so many people a day to reach out to. It took like 4 hours, I think, to call 1 week of people, but it's just something you kind of do just to like, that was nice of them to say like, we're here for you. That's all you want to hear sometimes.
I knew there were so many other weddings ahead of ours, so like I knew that like the vendors and all that were dealing with like March, May, and
Be mindful of them and give them their however much time they need to reach out to their.
yeah, exactly, because like July is still far out, so I know that.
You're like, let them deal with their spring weddings, and then I'm sure
Right.
they'll get to their summer weddings.
Correct, yes. It was kind of funny. So like I was super stressed the day that we like just kind of knew that we had to cancel the wedding or postpone it. And I asked him, I go, how do you deal with your stress? Like I feel like you don't ever stress.
Right.
And he's like,
breakdown.
I was just like super mad. Like I was like irritated. Then I was like crying, and then I'm like, I feel nothing. So I'm just laying on the couch, and then I'm like, I want to eat a bunch of food. Like,
I'm not gonna fit in my dress.
seriously, I know. I'm like, how am I gonna get my dress altered now? Like, it's just like so many things, like all like everything just like at once. And he's just like, like I listen to music. Like that's like what chills me out. I'm like,
So what things really helped you make a decision?
yeah. So I guess just communicating, honestly. Like with my mom, I just was just like, I put a lot on her, honestly, because I've never been married, so I didn't really know 100% of like what to do. And it's hard not making a decision like off of emotions at a state like that. So honestly, what worked best for me was just like talking with Brett and just making sure like I'm not making the decision for both of us, that like he equally wants to do what I want to do and is what is best for us. It was really hard because obviously like we're very like family oriented people, and our family is very large, and just like having to decide whether to like postpone and like wait even longer to be married for something that we like want so badly to be married now, or to choose love, to choose each other, and celebrate at a later date with our family. That those were like questions that we had to like decide, like what is more important.
Is the venue that you were planning on having your wedding at canceling July weddings at this point, or the decision really fell down on like safety, health, or just like you don't want to cancel it too late into it? Like what was your decision really falling on? Was it being forced to cancel?
They didn't tell us to cancel. It was definitely like a decision that like the four of us, like our parents and us decided. And I guess like for me, like what pushed me to make the decision was a lot to do with like everybody's health. Brett has an older family than I do. Like my family's fairly young, and his grandma is in her like mid 80s, and we knew she wouldn't miss this for anything. And so not that we like put the pressure on us of like our family's health, but in a sense we kind of did. Like we kind of felt like responsible to make sure that our family stayed as healthy as possible.
Yeah, because God forbid somebody gets sick after, and you just automatically are going to feel like that happened at your wedding.
Exactly. And for us, like we don't know what tomorrow holds. Like honestly, with anything in life, we're not promised tomorrow. But I guess like when I envisioned my wedding, I definitely didn't envision it with my relatives wearing masks. I didn't envision like that kind of stuff. And even though like a mask is like so like minor, but it just wasn't something that like I wanted.
And that's something for me, and I know for Robin too, so we've talked about this, seeing people with a mask on can bring a lot of stress to a situation.
Yeah.
Like, especially in numbers and multiple people wearing masks, you want your wedding to be positive and uplifting and light and like exciting. And even seeing just a few people with a mask on, if a few people chose to wear one, it would be uncomfortable and cause a little bit of anxiety. Maybe not for everyone, but I feel like it would definitely put a little bit of a negative spin.
Yeah. So a lot of our family members like that have like compromised health, like we don't know if they could even go. And so that was just really hard because obviously like you want everybody to be there that is close to you and that you know that you love. So we just felt like we needed to make the decision for people that that I didn't want anybody to hold the guilt of like we can't go because we're scared of our health, you know. So that was one thing that really pushed us to make a decision. And honestly, just like I feel like already with like not knowing when we're going to go back to work, like we're so uncertain about that. And to be so like to feel uncertain about something that you feel like so passionate and so certain about, like that didn't feel right to me. Like I know that like each day I'm going to choose Brett. Like we have a choice in that matter. And I just kind of felt like a wedding day is like supposed to be like one of the most exciting days. And now like it felt like it was getting taken away. And we didn't feel right about it. Like we felt like if we're so certain that we love each other, like we should go through with the wedding. So that was really hard, but I think the hardest thing was just to make a decision. And once we made the decision, like a lot of peace like came over us.
Once you did make the decision, did you then reach out to all your vendors and let them know that's what you're going to do? And how did they react? Were they very nice about it? Refund your deposits, or how
Please tell me you got all your money back.
Yeah.
A lot of the contracts that you sign, your deposits aren't refundable, which we knew anyways. And luckily, like a lot of the deposits weren't too crazy. Obviously, some were like thousands, right? But so no, we didn't get our deposits back. We reached out to so I guess like what we ended up doing is we're doing a really intimate wedding still on the day, on July 24th. It's just going to be like immediate family. And we are going to have our wedding party just because Brett has one brother and a mom and a dad and a grandma. And so my family, like I have tons of siblings that feel like my best friends. So I like want him to like have more. So that is a really small number, and we're gonna do it at my mom's, like in her backyard. They live on a farm, so they live on like an acre lot and then like a bunch of cornfield.
I love that. I feel like knowing you, oh my gosh, that's gonna be beautiful.
Yeah, so I did not want like a country wedding at all because like being from the country, you know, but
modern day country bride.
Yeah, I'm like city at heart. So, but yeah, we're really excited. Honestly, it's gonna be super laid back, and I think that's honestly more us, anyways. I reached out to like our photographer, and by like the grace of God, she's so awesome, and she just was like, "I'll make anything work." Like, obviously, like with a photographer, you can be like more than 6 feet apart. So with that, that worked out really well, and we are still like we still understand that like things can change at any moment. And when I reached out to her, I just basically was like, things changed on our end, and I just want you to know that like we care about your family and your health also. So like if you have to cancel, like we completely understand that, and that's not like the end of the world to us. So I felt like just being like real with people, I feel like you're gonna get a lot more in return instead of just being like sending an email saying like, what can you do for us? Yeah. And our baker, we're doing like a cookie wall. So like we're doing like individual cookies, and then we're gonna do like a cookie cake that's like a tiered cake. And originally we had like 500 cookies coming, so like that's a lot for her to make. And then I reached out to her and I just said like, I'm really sorry, like plans have changed, like I will like, we're willing to work with you. Like, I know you're expecting that money. Like, it's not her fault either that, the world went into like this pandemic. And so she was awesome and just said, like, we'll make it work. Like, whatever you need, like, it's fine. Like, I don't mind like doing less, blah, blah, blah. Cause we do not need 500 cookies. But the bar and the like catering company we're not going with anymore, and they basically just wished us the best. Luckily, like, we didn't put like more than like $1,000 into those, so
You are the opposite of a bridezilla, Haley.
Yeah.
Luckily,
luckily, yeah.
always
Yeah, I feel like at the end of the day, like, money's money. Like, yeah, like, this is like thousands of dollars that we could have put towards something else, but we both knew that this was money going to this day. And my family made a good point, like, yeah, we've spent like thousands of dollars on this venue, and that venue was going to provide a lot of memories, and we aren't getting, as of right now, any money back from the venue. So that stings a bit because, like I said, it's thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, but it's not money that we expected to have in the end.
That is like the best way to say it. That is such a good way to look at it.
And it's not like you're going to have to go to another venue and put.
Yeah, exactly. Because, like, honestly, like, the way we're doing it with the tent and all that, like, we're spending pennies compared to like the venues. And now with not having to pay for the rest of the catering, where we are like not having to spend like $5,000 to $6,000 more dollars on that, where doing it this way, like, maybe like this wedding will cost like $5,000 compared to like the 20 to 30 that we were spending. So
I hate to even say this, but I wonder if that's why the venue was dragging their feet on contacting you a little bit, because if it's your choice to cancel, then they can keep your deposit. But if they cancel on you, they.
Yeah, so there is like a clause like in our contract that basically says, like, if for whatever the reason is that is out of both our control, we are to get our money back. But like, for me, which I totally, like, there's no right or wrong, right? Like, for me, like, I just was like, I need to be certain about something, and I just need to make a decision so that I'm not waking up every day like depressed or like hopeful for something and then like let down and just like kind of like on that teeter-totter.
Yeah, just move on and move on to the next plan.
Like, I'm like, I feel like I'm getting robbed of like this like beautiful day. Like, so many people talk about how amazing their wedding is, and like I feel like it's getting tainted, and like that's like not me. Like, I don't like want to be negative. And like, I just told my mom, like, I just want to put my wedding dress on and get married, and like, I'm sad that I won't get to spend it with like my extended family that feels like, like my immediate family. But knowing they're going to be healthy, knowing like there's Zoom and stuff like that they can be like a part of it in a way, I feel like makes me feel better.
Do you guys think about, like, have you guys talked about having like a reception later when all of this blows over, like maybe next year, or like 5-year anniversary or something like that?
Yeah, we've flirted with the idea of like on our anniversary, like next year, like doing something, but not to the extent of like a reception. I would say more just like a cookout or something, just something like low key.
So what kind of advice do you have for like the 2020 bride? Because I know you're not the only one in our salon who's getting married right now and who's going through this. And you're certainly not the only person. A lot of people are in your situation. So what kind of advice do you have for the 2020 bride?
I want to know your advice for the 21 bride too,
Yeah.
because now it's always gonna be on people's mind, like, what if something crazy pops up during my wedding?
Yeah. I guess my like greatest advice is just like, remember that a wedding is one day and a marriage is for a lifetime. And I just like really like for like a few days, I just rested in that and just kind of, just took a step back, took a break, just kind of really like gathered my thoughts and what's important to me. Is it how much money that we've put into this? Is that really what matters in the end of the day to me? And again, like, there's no right or wrong to this. It's just, be real with yourself and what you feel you want out of it is what you should put into and what you should do. Also, like, at the end of the day, do I, like, are these pictures going to really make me feel like it's everything? Like, it's more for me sharing my vows and going the rest of my life, like, knowing I made this commitment. And so for me, like, canceling my wedding wasn't as big of a deal. It was more, I carried the weight of disappointing my family, of like, they're not all going to be there. And my biggest advice is just don't put that like guilt and pressure on yourself. As hard as it is, like, they're going to love you and support you no matter what. So if that's one of the biggest things like holding you back from doing what makes you happy, you just kind of need to like push that aside and just do what makes you happy, because this is something that you're going to remember for the rest of your life. And yeah, like, a pandemic is honestly like the worst thing that all of us could be going through right now, but we're definitely going to look back and be like we made it through. With each other, you're supposed to get through all these hard times, and times aren't going to be easy for the rest of our lives, and things are going to happen that are going to test you. And if you choose love each time, like, you're going to be so much happier in life.
I'm a list person, and I feel like you are too. Did you like make a pros and cons list, like things that are good about canceling a wedding, things that are bad?
I did, and honestly, like, I love having parties. Like, I get so excited about decorations and all that stuff. So that was like a huge thing, is just like, I wanted to put on such like a nice day for like everybody to like have fun and to enjoy. And knowing that I pretty much couldn't anymore, like, that was probably one of the bigger things that was like weighing on me. If you have like a really good support system, whether it be like extended family, like your parents or whatever, significant other, like, I would really like encourage people to go to them for advice. And they will give really honest advice and really hard advice, but be open-minded and accept the advice that they give you. Doesn't mean you have to like do what they say, but it's just another way of like thinking things through before you make such a big decision.
I think going to your family, especially like a mom or someone who's really, really close to you, like a sister, is like, they want you to have that wedding just as bad as you do, but they're not emotionally invested or financially invested as much as you, or maybe they are, but not as much as you. And so they can give like more logic solutions instead of
They're
having
coming from
all
a
that
different
emotion.
angle a little bit. And I think that's awesome too, how you said you were talking to your mom and like angry and bitter, and you're like, that's not me. I feel like when you make those realizations, like, I'm doing something because of the situation that's not really me, it gives you a chance to really reflect, and just that you notice that about you.
Yeah.
That's like a really growing moment.
And I think like through everything, just trying to hold on to like something positive is going to get you through it a lot better too. Just find one thing that brings you joy. It's okay to be mad. It's okay to be like angry. Allow those emotions to like be released, because if you harbor them, like, it's going to be a lot harder of a process, and it's going to take a lot longer to like regain happiness and make a decision that you feel was the right decision to make. I think it's really hard right now because none of us really know the right thing to do. We don't want to act on fear. Like, we don't want to like make a decision because we're super emotional. So just allowing time and getting advice, I honestly think that's the best thing to do. I know that there are a lot of like event coordinators that are offering a lot of free like information of like the steps to take to like postponing and canceling and all that. Those are super helpful. Personally, I didn't do any of that because I have a lot of time on my hands, so I can reach out. And luckily, like I said before, like, my mom has been extremely, extremely helpful in helping me come up with like the proper wording of like how to say things. And she's a lot more like direct than I am, so I like fluff things a little too much. So she's really helped, like, you know, try to help us get money back for things that we do deserve.
If you hear anybody, a lot of people will say, if I could have done one thing different, it would have been I would have loved, or it would have been way smaller.
Yeah.
So it's one thing that I held on to after my wedding was, did I say hi to everyone? Did I look like I appreciated everyone? And you're just gonna have this like nice group of people that you're gonna laugh with and you're gonna give all your attention to. And I think you're gonna look back and just be like, wow, that's why this happened.
Thank you for that. It's kind of funny how like in the beginning we wanted a small wedding, and in the end like we're getting a small wedding. So it's
really funny.
Yeah, it's pretty ironic.
Do you have anything else you want to add that you can think of
that would be helpful or interesting?
For like 20 brides, I guess like for me, like just starting on Pinterest, collecting ideas first, reaching out to as many venues. And honestly, I read all the contracts that we signed before we had signed them, but I kind of wish I read them a little bit more in depth.
They don't think that they're going to have to cancel or something. You know?
Yeah. Like with our venue, like not a lot of them, I don't think a lot of venues require you to pay in full 150 days before your wedding. Usually it's like that month of, or like a few weeks before. But I think if I were to ever do it again, I don't know if I would have signed a contract out that far, just because like a lot of stuff happens between like then and the wedding. So like 150 days doesn't sound like a long time at first, but then when you put it into like months, I feel like honestly like there is no like definite answer for any of this. It's just, you know, like what you feel in your heart is right, and what you and your partner decide is best for you guys is honestly what you should do. And stay true to you and firm in what you believe is best. And honestly, everybody will support you. I've gotten nothing but encouraging messages, and it's been really awesome. And a lot of people have reached out just asking like, hey, when's your date? Like, I don't know when I should decide. And I wish I could give you guys like an exact like date to like decide by, but there isn't. It's just what you choose to do.
You're stressing out over it. Like you were like, I need to make a decision now because I don't feel certainty and I want to get excited again about my wedding.
100%. Yes, that's exactly it. And it's just honestly, like, I know like we can't control our life. Like we can't know everything's gonna happen. But like for me, like I like to have like a little bit of like an idea of how it's gonna go, even though things, you know, change a lot.
I love that you're using social media to tell your story and to like put your story out there to not only like gain support from people, but also to help support other people. And then coming here and just like, there's so many people that need to hear this so that they can make a decision.
Yeah, I feel like it's just a really uncertain time for a lot of things, and knowing that you're not the only one going through it really helps. And just knowing, you know, you have so much support, it really will get you through all of this. And maybe social media is not always like the best way to tell extended family that you're canceling or postponing your wedding. For us, we just kind of felt like we're done spending a lot of extra money, and all of our families on Facebook, all of our family, you know, is on social media. So it's just the easiest way to just get it out and just, you know, close that chapter and just move on. We have like made phone calls, you know, to like family, just saying like, hey, this is where we're at, and we're sorry, you know, whatever.
I've had, I think like 2, maybe 3 weddings that I was attending this year that were canceled, and knowing that they were probably going to have to be canceled, so around the time that this is all going down, I kept checking social media. I'm like, they're totally going to want to just post it on social media, which is, I would never expect a piece of mail or a phone call from these people.
I know, like, for us, like, what we're going to do is just send out, like, a card saying, like, hey, we got married, you know, blah, blah, blah. just for like something. But I just didn't, nobody wants to get like in the mail, like we canceled our wedding, you
Yeah.
know?
Happy
If
meal.
it's postponed for sure.
It was a rescheduled one.
Yeah, because there's like lots of questions, like people go to like, oh, like, did you guys break up? You know, like all that kind of stuff when they see canceled, when it's like completely due to a pandemic. So it just didn't seem necessary.
Anyone's aware of what's going on, they're not going to be shocked by it or wondering.
Yeah.
Totally. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm so glad that you like made a decision and that you're like,
You seem really
you seem really
about
happy
it.
with your decision
Mhm.
and maybe not happy with it, but content with it and at peace with it and ready to just like plan this new styled wedding, this country vibe.
Yeah, I was joking with my bridesmaids. I'm like, I feel like the luckiest person. Like, I get to plan 2 weddings. Like, you know, I got a taste of what both of them are like. And
Thank you so much for coming on today with us and being part of our first episode. It was so great seeing you, and we cannot wait to see you again.
this was so much fun. And I really hope that all the stuff I shared with everybody will hopefully help out a 2020 or 2021 bride, and that everyone's able to just stay happy and positive during so much uncertainty.
Yay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. We'll see you soon,
See ya.
hopefully.
Bye, guys.
Oh, I'm sweating. Okay.
I need like cue cards. I
Yeah.
interviewed the superintendent of Westland in 5th grade. I was one of the news anchors on our 5th grade whatever, and I had cue cards and it was so much nicer.
Yeah, this is raw and real.